Insights, another historic night for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark became the first player in WNBA history to record 25 points, 10 assists, and a plus 25 plus minus in a single game. The first player ever. The best that ever did it and got away with it. The best thing since sliced bread. The best thing since pants with pockets.
Unbelievable. Caitlin Clark didn't just torch the Connecticut Sun. She delivered another historic performance that left the entire WNBA wondering if anyone can actually stop her. 27 points, 11 assists, 5 made three-pointers, all in just 27 minutes. Most players would call that a career night. For Caitlin Clark, it's becoming another chapter in a season that's rewriting the history books. But the box score wasn't the only thing everyone was talking about after July 26. As Indiana cruised toward a franchise record 123 points, emotions boiled over. Trash talk erupted. Technical fouls were handed out. And one simple response from Clark: scoreboard.
That you did a great job of getting the hell out of Caitlin Clark's way today. When the GOAT has the ball in her hands, there's nothing anybody can do. This was a masterclass. This is why she is the best show.
Because this wasn't just another victory. It was another reminder that every time Caitlin Clark steps onto the court, history and controversy. By the time the Indiana Fever welcomed the Connecticut Sun to Gainbridge Fieldhouse on July 26, the expectations surrounding Caitlin Clark had reached another level. Just days earlier, she had reminded the basketball world why she's one of the biggest attractions in sports, continuing a remarkable stretch of performances that had reignited the Fever after an injury-interrupted start to the season. Indiana entered the night at 16-10. Climbing the Eastern Conference standings and beginning to resemble a legitimate championship contender, rather than simply an exciting young team. But with every great performance came an even bigger challenge. Opposing teams weren't simply trying to beat Indiana anymore. They were trying to slow Caitlin Clark. Every scouting report began with her name. Pick her up early. Force the ball out of her hands. Be physical. Never allow her comfortable three-point looks. It was a strategy nearly every opponent had attempted throughout the season. Very few had actually succeeded. Connecticut understood exactly what they were walking into.
First play of the game. Bang. Baghdad. First play of the game. Y'all can't stop her. Snatch back. Pull up. From the parking lot. Pulled up from the parking lot. Where's $50 to park at? Getting into the lane. And one. You can't stop her. They ain't even call it. Reverse is too easy for Caitlin Clark. She's unguardable. Another three. Baghdad. They can't stop her. She's pulling up. She's pulling up from Carver Hawkeye Arena.
Then Caitlin Clark reminded everyone why she's different. Her first three-pointer came with almost casual confidence. You could almost feel Connecticut realizing that this wasn't going to be another ordinary night. Clark wasn't simply looking to score. She was controlling everything. Every possession flowed through her. One trip she buried a deep three. The next possession she threaded a perfect bounce pass to Aaliyah Boston. Then she pushed the pace before Connecticut could even organize its defense. Every decision seemed one step ahead. That's what separates elite scorers from elite playmakers. Clark forces defenses into impossible choices. Step out to stop her range, she finds Boston inside. Collapse on Boston. She finds Kelsey Mitchell cutting. Stay home on everyone. She'll happily launch from well beyond the arc. Within minutes, Indiana wasn't merely leading. They were overwhelming Connecticut. Possession after possession, the offense looked effortless. Kelsey Mitchell attacked gaps. Aaliyah Boston dominated around the basket. Lexi Hull made winning plays without demanding the spotlight. And right in the middle of everything stood Caitlin Clark. Not forcing, not rushing, simply orchestrating. Basketball has always been described as a game of rhythm. That night, Indiana played like an orchestra. Every cut timed perfectly. Every screen creating space. Every pass arriving exactly where it needed to. And Clark was conducting all of it. By halftime, the numbers looked almost unbelievable. Indiana had scored 70 points in the first half, setting a new franchise record for points in any half. Clark already had 21 points, 7 assists, and 5 made three-pointers, while shooting with stunning efficiency. The Sun had prepared for every version of Caitlin Clark. The shooter, the passer, the transition playmaker. Instead, they got all of them at once. Perhaps even more impressive than the scoring was how effortless it looked. Clark wasn't hunting statistics. She wasn't trying to prove a point, but the next 15 minutes would produce something the WNBA had literally never seen before. And just when basketball perfection seemed within reach, the emotions started taking over. If the first half belonged to Caitlin Clark, the second half belonged to the history books. Every possession seemed to carry another milestone. Every assist added another layer to an already unforgettable performance. And every three-pointer made it feel like the Connecticut Sun were witnessing something they simply had no answer for. By the time the third quarter began, Indiana wasn't just winning. They were putting together one of the greatest offensive performances the franchise had ever produced. Connecticut tried changing defenders. They tried switching screens. They tried trapping Clark high above the three-point line. Nothing worked. When they pressured her, she slipped a perfect pass to Aaliyah Boston. When they stayed back, she calmly stepped into another deep three.
Caitlin Clark put on an absolute dominant performance versus the Connecticut Sun. 27 points, 11 assists in just 27 minutes. Indiana Fever beat the absolute dog crap, beat the brakes off the Connecticut Sun.
When they collapsed into the paint, Kelsey Mitchell punished them from the perimeter. That is what makes Caitlin Clark so dangerous. She's impossible to defend because every defensive adjustment creates another problem. Basketball has always been called a game of decisions. Against Clark, every decision feels like the wrong one. Midway through the third quarter, the game had completely slipped away from Connecticut. Indiana's offense wasn't just scoring, it was flowing. Most importantly, the offense looked completely synchronized. When Clark pushed the pace, everyone ran. When she slowed things down, teammates trusted her reads. Every pass seemed to create another quality shot. By the end of the night, Indiana had scored 123 points, setting a new franchise record and tying the WNBA record with its 11th game of at least 100 points during the season. Indiana isn't just a playoff team anymore. They're becoming one of the most dangerous teams in the league. Yet as incredible as this night was, the story wasn't finished. Because while everyone celebrated another historic masterpiece, the biggest question remained unanswered. Can Caitlin Clark continue playing with the same fearless passion, without crossing the line that would force her to miss a crucial game